Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Transformers Friday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Transformers Studio Series 86, number 21, from the Transformers the Movie, Commander Class Ultra Magnus. Let's get into it! Let's begin repelling the Decepticons from Autobot City with a look at the packaging. And here we have on the top, an Autobot shuttle, the Transformers the Movie, nice blue border that we've been used to with this 86 Studio Series line. Well, it may be on the other Studio Series too, I don't know, because I don't collect those. On the front of the packaging, nice big artwork of Ultra Magnus blasting the crap out of stuff. The Transformers the Movie Studio Series 86, number 21, Autobot Ultra Magnus. 8 and up, Hasbro print. Transformers Generations Takara Tomy. Then let's see what's on the bottom. Includes figure and 15 accessories. And then a couple of symbols I'm not going to learn, along with some small print, fine print, legalese print, made in Vietnam print, other symbols I'm not going to learn, and a barcode. On this side, 8621 Studio Series, and a close-up of Ultra Magnus's face, same artwork from the front, Commander Class, and there it is in some other languages, and then we'll swing around to the other side here. And then that Ultra Magnus artwork from the front, just without the background, authentic. Then on the back, big screen inspired scale detail backdrop, and it needs an and in there, or a chrysanthemum, that thing. Battle of Autobot City, and there it is in a bunch of other languages. Works with deluxe class figures, just like that. And then we have some nice digital renders of Ultra Magnus in both modes. Transforms in 43 steps. And you can see he comes with a matrix that is removable. And he comes with some blast effects and the missiles and a gun. Ultra Magnus leads defensive measures against the Decepticons invading Autobot City. And then there's a nice, I'm assuming, digital render of Ultra Magnus and his backdrop included. Warning! Attention! Octoon! Don't stick things in any language pie hole that do not belong there. Don't give it to babies. Some more small, fine legalese made in Vietnam print. And another symbol I'm not going to learn. And Hasbro print. And that, my friends, is a look at the packaging. Boop. Let's take a look at Ultra Magnus in his alt mode and his accessories. And first up we have the handy dandy instruction manual, and as you can see it's quite long, and of course it's double-sided. And for the most part, clear, mostly easy to follow directions, and the illustrations are nice and they're clear. I would have preferred just a little bit larger illustrations to make the instructions easier to follow, but here on the cover, 8621 Studio Series Autobot Ultra Magnus, the Transformers, the movie Transformers, and then small fine legalese, symbols I'm not going to learn, all that good stuff. And then the biggest accessory, of course, is the insert or the stand that comes with it. And if you've owned any 86 Studio Series, then you know all about this. You know, it says, it's hard for me to get it all in frame, 8621 Studio Series, and then there's a nice illustration of it, and it's Transformers the movie. They're authentic, and you know, they're nice looking. It says Transformers on the side here, and then of course on the back, just plain cardboard. So there's that, and it's out of the way now. Maybe it's out of the way. Got out of the way of the review at any rate. And let's take a look at the accessories, which I've knocked all over the place now. The blast effects. And here we have some handy dandy tweezers. You know, the blast effects, the shapes are nothing new. They do have a new paint app on them that I don't believe we've seen before, giving it quite a gray, smoky look. I think we've had black before. And of course, these are the same like the War for Cybertron blast effects. So they all work with, compatible with all that stuff too. Let's see this one. And again, you know, nothing new on these, and they all plug in together. And then got 3 of these. Again, it's the same molds, and they're all 3 the same paint app and everything, it looks like, on them. Then we have his missile launchers, which of course the blast effects are compatible with. So, and then the missiles themselves again, which are compatible with the blast effects, so you can have like the missile launching out if that's something you want to do. And then the missile launchers themselves, you know, they're Ultra Magnus missile launchers, and it's not a lot of detail to them, but they do have some nice molded detail to them, and it looks like they're all molded in white plastic. And of course, the missiles, a little bit of waffling to them, molded in red plastic, and they just plug in just like that, and they both do it. Then we have his Matrix, which really, I don't know if this is the Earthrise Optimus Prime Matrix. I believe that it is. If not, then it's probably new, because the Matrix that comes with the G2 Laser Optimus Prime from Legacy is a little bit flatter than this, if I remember correctly. And they Hasbro actually doesn't count this as an accessory. So, and when you do get it, if you can't find it, it is in Ultra Magnus's chest. It's not in the bag with the rest of it. And here we have one of his blasters. And as you can see, it appears to be molded in clear plastic with a silver paint app on it, and a white paint app on it. So nice molded detail on this one as well. And actually, I think this is a separate piece. It looks like it's a separate piece stuck in there, and it's glued in. So this piece is white, the rest of it's in clear, and it has that silver paint app on it. And it appears the same thing for this. the post appears to be separate. And it's got a little bit of paint slop on it right there, but that peeled right off. And again, the clear. So, and a little bit of paint slop there on the end of the gun. But the blasts are compatible with these. They do stretch out just a tad on these posts, and it works the same for the other gun as well. And again, it feels like it stretches it out just a little bit. So just be aware of that. If you're planning on using these with something else, they may not fit after that. Now let's take a look at Ultra Magnus in his alt mode. And he does roll pretty freely, although all the wheels don't turn all the time. So that's something to watch out for. And also, when you're putting him into alt mode, if you get like a lump here and he kind of teeter-totters on that, then you'll have to go back into the transformation and adjust the knees and the legs just a little bit. And it's not the easiest transformation in the world. It is easier than I remember the Masterpiece Ultra Magnus being, but it's still a bit complicated. It's not as complicated as, say, Rodimus Prime, the Commander Class Kingdom Rodimus Prime, to be more specific. So there is that. So it rolls good and it looks pretty good. It does still have some gaps in places like along here, and so that's a thing. But I do think he has nice colors, and the nice whites and the reds and the silvers. And then he does have the translucent windows, but you really can't see inside there a whole lot. Now on the side, that's a little bit of a different story. You can see all kinds of bits and bobs in there. And one thing I do like about this, and I fussed about it with the Kingdom Leader class and the Siege Leader class, is that there was no movement between the trailer and the cab. And with this one, they have gone and corrected that. However, the cab is one piece with the trailer, meaning that there is no separate core bot mode. However, you can separate, and I found out this on accident, you can separate the two. So you can use the truck independently of the trailer, and it looks okay without the trailer on it. But this piece, it just, when I was transforming it, kept flopping off. The cab kept flopping off the trailer. So there is that. That is one issue with it. And then other than that, you know, you've got some tampos on each side, and it really reminds me of the G1 toy a lot too. And it's got one here, and you can load vehicles on it, unlike Siege and Kingdom Ultra Magnus. I think the last one you could do that with was the Combiner Wars, and Combiner Wars one comes the closest to the G1, not aesthetically, but in spirit, I guess you could say. And so I like this. And you can, you know, it opens up so that you can put cars on there if you want to. Now they don't go all the way down, or at least on mine they don't. And this, you can unpeg it and lower it down, although it can be a pain in the butt to do that, and stuff comes loose, and so it's not perfect, but this is a lot closer than what we have had recently in the past. So, and I do think some red paint apps right there would have been kind of cool for the brake lights, even though I know it's not really brake lights, but that's too high. That's actually the brake lights down here, isn't it? So, goes to show what I know. So, overall, I'd have to say I do like this alt mode, and again, it's much, much closer than anything that we have gotten in the recent past. Well, that's a look at, well, no, it's not, because I'm not finished, am I? I didn't talk about weapons storage. Now, as far as the missile launchers go, you know, there's ports right here in the front where they go, and there's posts on them right here. And this is the top part with the fin on it. And you just work it into the port there. And of course, I like mine straight on like that, but you can adjust them if you prefer them at an angle. You can do that. And then there's a port here on either side, and that is for the rifles, and they're facing to the rear. And there we go. And again, you know, I like to put them straight on like this, but you know, if you want to put them up at an angle, that also works pretty good. So that is a look at Ultra Magnus in his vehicle mode and his accessories. It's time for alt mode comparisons, and we're going to do this one a little old school without the turntable. In old school, I mean like the way I used to do it before I got a turntable, simply because this guy's so long and it really doesn't fit on my turntable very well. So first up, let's take a look at how he compares up with the Earthrise Leader Class Ultra Magnus. And as you can see, the trailer is a good bit taller. And let's see him from front on. Now, the cab is a little bit taller than the Commander Class, but this one is much wider, and this one gives you a better Earth mode look than this one does. Although I do like the front, the bumper, the grille, the windscreens, all that stuff. I do like the way that it cuts on this one, but this one looks more earth-bound, so to speak, I guess, than the Kingdom one. And even though, I mean, how many times have you seen a car carrier with missile launchers and rifles on it? And that goes for either one of them. They're just Ultra Magnus in general. But that's how those guys size up. And again, you know, this one, the trailer is directly connected to the cab, and there's no articulation between the cab and the trailer. Now, here he is with the Amazon exclusive alternate universe Optimus Prime, and you can see how the cabs stack up there. Again, this one is wider, and this one is slightly taller, not by much. Well, no, it's really not. They're the same height. So, of course, not counting the smokestacks, but even then, this one would be taller because the smokestacks are taller. But as far as to the top of the cab here, they are the same height. And how they go with profile, you can see there. And here is Prime's trailer. So as you can see, Ultra Magnus is a good bit larger. He's taller, the trailer's taller, and it is longer. Is here, I'm going to line them up bumper to bumper. Of crossways, and you can see there's still a good bit of Ultra Magnus there at the end. So truly, I don't know if I would say it was scale wise the greatest between those two, but there it is. And then here we have the Titans Returns Legends Class Bumblebee. And of course he will fit inside, and there's lots of room on either side of this Legend Class, Hasbro Legend Class. So there is that. And while we're talking about fitting stuff in the trailer, I do have a few more comparisons. And here is the 86 Studio Series Brawn, the Amazon Earthrise Prowl, the Target Creatures Collide Goldbug, and a Jada 1:32 scale G.I. Joe Vamp. And I'm not just showing those just to show the size. However, you know, I want to show you that the trailer does actually work. You can actually fit vehicles in there. You just have to be careful with what you choose. Like 86 Brawn here, he's not going up in here. And the Vamp won't either. However, he sits pretty good on the top. Goldbug fits right in there really good. And then Prowl on the top here, and that looks okay. And then the Vamp will go up the ramps. Now it won't fit up in here, but it will fit between the back post, and the ramp will close on it. So he can not just carry Transformers, but he can carry Jada's 1:32, or if you have another brand that has 1:32 scale vehicles, he can carry those as well. Well, that, my friends, does it for the alt mode comparisons. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the comedy portion of our show, where I attempt to transform this Transformer. And first of all, let's take all the bits and bobs off. That's always a good place to start, I think. And then we can, there's a panel right here with a hinge right here at the top. And you go ahead and push those in, because they're going to go in anyway. And there's one on both sides, so we'll go ahead and tuck both of those in. And while we're around here at the back, let's go ahead and untab the feet from the arms. And I'm calling it that because that's what they are in the robot mode. So we can unlatch those, and we'll raise them up there just a little bit, because here's a little piece that is easy to miss when transforming, is when you're putting in truck mode, this tab piece, you have to slide it forward. So on each side we'll slide it back, and you can see that it does have a slot in it, and there's a tab in it, and those correspond. And while we've got those back, let's go ahead and just flip them down. There's a little cavity here for them. Then the arm pieces, we'll go ahead and separate, maybe. There we go, and you can see there's like a upside down T-shaped tab here, and there's a corresponding spot for it over here. And then we can go ahead and separate it up here, and you can see there's 3 tabs, no, a slot and 2 tabs. There's 2 of those T-shaped tabs up here, and then a flat slot here at the bottom. There's a flat tab at the bottom here, and 2 T-shaped ports at the top. And something I forgot to do is these parts, before you can put these down, these parts have to come out because there's the tab right there. There's a slot right there for it. And those pieces just go ahead and fold down. And there is a slot right here and a tab right here. And they go into that. And that happens on both sides there. And now we can go ahead and lay the arms out. And I'm going to see if I can remember how to do this. I probably can't. You've got these pieces right here on a hinge that twist up, and you'll notice there's a tab here and a little slot here, and it's like that on both sides of this, and then that allows this to spin freely. Well, not spin, but it allows it to move freely. And then this piece, it's on a hinge right here, and it's got a tab here and there's a slot here, and so we'll just put that into place like that, I think. And that pops off a lot of times for me. This piece right here, it just flips up and it's on a double hinge. And just work it till the top of the hinge here is flat, and then you can fold this. Well, nope. And this is why it's the comedy portion, my friends. We've got these panels right here. There's a hinge, double hinge right here, and it has a tab on it right here, and it goes in the slot right here. So just gotta make sure you bring that double hinge all the way down, and they'll click into place like that. Another thing right here, when you're transforming it into trailer mode, the tires pulled down and they're on a hinge right here. So when he's going back into robot mode, pull them out just a little bit, push this hinge up, and then they'll snap back into place where they go. And again on the other side as well. And of course this one doesn't want to snap into place. And like I said, it doesn't want to. So the legs here, they separate right there. You see there's a tab and there's the slot for it. And these tires are gonna make me mad. So let's try to get it off camera. And there we go. It really didn't take long to get it into position. And the feet part here, there's this ratcheting hinge here. And you just put those back into place, and then we can flip that belt down. And then we've got a piece here that spins around here, and then there's a piece on a hinge right here, if I can get it. And maybe I can. And maybe I'll have to get something to stick in there. So there we go. Get it from the back. That goes right back into place. Now, what the heck do I do with these arms? Ah, that's where they do. Where this cavity is here, and this hinge is here. it just flips up into place like that. And we'll do that on the other side. Untab these and flip it around. Oops. But don't forget to do this part. Gotta flip that panel. And they go into place correctly. Let me adjust the camera here. Of course, that is funky whopped. Let's go ahead and pop this back on. You can see pops right on there, and we'll just go ahead and push it down. It seems to stay in place better that way. So we'll go ahead and let's see, how do we do these? There's a hinge right here, so it must open up. And how about that? It does. And then there's a double hinge right here, and it works down just like that. And then this closes back up, and you can see there's two tabs right here, and then two slots. So, and then on the other side, we will do the same thing. Open the hinge, lower it by the other hinge, close this panel back up, and I'm going to go ahead and twist these right down. You can hear they're on super strong ratchets there. Wow. So I think we're going to go ahead and on this hinge right here, close this up, and there's a tab here and a slot here. So that's how that goes, and we'll do it on this side as well, and it's the same tab and slot. Now here on the back of the cab part, that flips in, I know. And that keeps spinning. And I want to say this part right here comes back in here, and so does this one. I can get it separated. You got to keep them separated. So, all right, I think that's how that goes. Then I want to say, this panel right here flips up some, and it does reveal the head there. I don't really think we're ready for it to come out yet fully, but you never know. So this side panel right here, let's unclip it, and there's two tabs right here and two slots that correspond to it, and it's the same over on this side as well. Once you have those, you can open this front flap up, and you'll see there's an open slot on either side, and then a tab, and then the air horns for the truck go into the open tabs, and then these tabs go in these slots here on the front. This piece just folds in there, and it doesn't tab or anything like that. I want to say these red pieces, they're connected to the wheels, so we can go ahead and put the wheels up. And then this piece flips on, there's hinges on either side of it, and it flips around just like that. This piece, you want to stand it straight up, and then while that is standing up, here, let's adjust that camera again, and there I go, I bumped it. Of course I did. And I think we can go ahead and close these exhaust pipes in. Then this panel, you can see there's a tab right there. There's a slot right there. And it just goes on down just like that. And then I think you undo these. I said we'd put them on there before, but it's hard to see with this arm in the way. This piece right here, it just folds down, I think, like this, and you'll see there's a tab right here above the butt flap, and then there's a slot right here, and that goes in together. And once that's in there, you can collapse the sides of the cab down. Then this piece will lay down. At least I think it does. We'll say it does. I'm gonna guess it does at some point. Some way, somehow. And it does. There's kind of a clip right here. It's hard to see on the camera, but there's the line for it right there. And it just kind of clips down over that. And then you can close the chest piece on down. And where does it? There's two tabs right here on the red piece, and then there's two corresponding slots on this piece, and they clip down in there, and it feels like that should clip in somewhere too, but it doesn't. And let's see. Those look like they clip down. But we gotta get these in place first, I believe, and they just close like they did before. And I probably messed this part all up. I think I did. I think those parts have to go in first before tabbing all this front piece. And then in, let's see. And it just doesn't want to go anywhere. Alright, I'm gonna have to take a look at that one. Okay, I figured it out. They stay up like that for right now. So I had it right. So close this back up. Then let's see, I'll do these arms. Fold on this hinge right here, they just fold in. And then there is, oops, there's a tab right here and a slot right here, and they go together. Then this red piece closes down on top of that blue tab. And then we will do the same thing over on this side. Fold it, tab it, hinge it, on the tab. Alright, my friends, we're almost done there. Close those back up over those posts like that. Then of course, for me personally, this transformation isn't completed until you take the missile launchers and the post. There's the port right here. And then the same on the other side. Again with the fins on the top. And then, and I guess we can go ahead and give him his guns too. think you have to open the hand like that to get it in there. You don't. And there it is, my friends. The figure, all transformed without too much difficulty. Let's take a look at Ultra Magnus in his robot mode and his accessories. And of course, accessories he holds in his hands there, and the ones mounted on his shoulders. But before we get into all of that, there's an important feature that we need to look at. Let's bring him up close. And handy dandy pen light here. Let's take a look at his rather obvious light piping. You can put the light right up there and make them shine real bright, or angle it, you know, however you want to do it, to give him the glow in his eyes that you may want. And while we've got him up close here, let's take a look at where the matrix goes. And we've got this blue piece right here, and it lifts up. And as we do, you'll notice there's 2 springs on the side of his chest. And as we lift this up, his chest cavity springs open. And then here you take the matrix. And we looked at all this before. This may actually be the Earthrise one. I am not 100% sure. And I didn't pull one out to look. But the top of it is here where the little gap is in the handles. And the way that you put it in there is just kind of put the handles around the 2 pegs in there and push it back as far as it'll go, and that's it. It's in there. Close that up, and you've got to hold it while you lower this down because of the springs. And there we go. That's the matrix. And then the guns and the missile launchers we already looked at way back in the beginning. And as far as paint apps and stuff on this guy goes, he's got some for the face and maybe on the antennas. But for the most part, everything you see here is molded in colored plastic. Now, there is some paint apps like here and inside the chest, all that silver, and even on the back sides of these doors, there's some silver paint in there. And then he's got this tampo here. And then maybe the wheels here have a little bit of silver paint. And then around on the back, he's got the silver paint app here and here. And his butt flap is open. And then some silver paint apps here and here. And that pretty much does it for the paint apps. Everything else, at least as far as I can tell, is all molded in the color plastic that it's supposed to be. Now let's take a look at his articulation. Because of that hinge and the ball joint on it, he can look way, way up. And he can look down that far. And he's got lots of chicken neck, so party in Metroplex later. And then lots of waggle. And of course, he can do the full exorcist. And while the head's around here back, this is why I say the light piping is so obvious, because of this large clear plastic piece on the back of his head. And then again, like I said, there's looks to be some paint app here for the face, kind of a pearlescent silver white ish. Now at the shoulders, it's got a pin right here, and he can raise his arm up at approximately a 90-degree angle. On a very tight ratchet, he can get 360 degrees worth of rotation. Right here at the, I'm guessing, mid bicep, we'll call it, there is a mushroom peg, and it does allow for 360 degrees worth of rotation. And then he has a single hinged pinned elbow, and it's gives you slightly better than 90 degrees. And there is a cut here at the waist, and it does give you a full 360 degrees worth of rotation. At the hips, these pieces, the flaps, will lift up and angle out that far, which allows him to give you almost the full splits. He can kick forward, not quite 90 degrees, and if you raise his butt flap, he can give you approximately a 90 degree back kick. Now, there is a little bit of a twist. You can see the mushroom peg right here, but because of the way the leg is shaped, it won't go 360 degrees. You just get a little forward and back on it, and that's okay. He does have double hinged knees. However, this lower hinge is for transformation. So as far as articulation goes, he just has a single knee, which gives you approximately a 90 degree bend. Now at the ankle, there is no tilt. That popped out because it's part of transformation. And for some reason it's not locked in there all the way. So no tilt at the ankle, but he does have slight rocker. You can get that much rocker out of it. And something that I did fail to mention before, his fingers do have some articulation to them, and this is the same on both hands. Of course, the thumb has no articulation, but you can open the hand like this. All the fingers are on a hinge right here at the edge of the hand, and then you've got these three fingers that work independently of the pointer finger or trigger finger. So these three are locked together and they bend together here, while this finger can move on its own, and it also has a hinge at this knuckle right here, and it's the same on both hands. And he also does have a 360 degree rotation at the wrist there, but no hinge in there at all. So, uh-oh, that came loose. Tight ratchets. And that, my friends, is a look at Ultra Magnus in his robot mode. It's time for my favorite part of a Transformers review, robot mode comparisons. And here we have a couple of the guys that we compared him to earlier. Not necessarily compared him to, but showed that they would fit his trailer. So here's the Target Creatures Collide Goldbug, the Studio Series 86 Deluxe Brawn, and there I go bumping the camera, and the Amazon exclusive Earthrise Prowl. So let's get some of those guys out of here. And then here's the Jada 1:32 scale G.I. Joe Vamp. Here we have the Walmart exclusive War for Cybertron Trilogy Netflix Leader Class Optimus Prime. And with me, as always, in the Transformers review, we have the Titans Returns Legends Class Bumblebee. For our final robot comparison, because quite frankly, I forgot to put him in the last round of robot mode comparisons. Here we have the War for Cybertron Trilogy Kingdom Leader Class Earth Mode Ultra Magnus. As you can see, just like in the truck mode, in the robot modes, there is a big bit of difference in these two guys. Although I will have to say, Kingdom gets the award for detail and paint apps, and 86 just gets it for size and looking like the animation. For final thoughts on the Transformers Studio Series 86, the Transformers the movie, Commander Class Ultra Magnus, I have to say both modes on this Transformer are really good. Now, the robot mode isn't quite as detailed as, say, the last Ultra Magnus that we got, which was the Kingdom Leader class. And believe me, that one has a lot of problems on its own, mostly in the alt mode. This one, while it really looks good in both modes, and in the alt mode, the car carrier actually can carry cars in both levels rather than sometimes on the top with the Kingdom version. This one does not have the core Optimus Prime style robot with armor attached on it. It is all quote-unquote one piece, even though the cab will sometimes pop off. Another thing you kind of have to look out for. And with that happening and it not being able to transform into the core bot is a little disappointing. But with this being the Studio Series and in the cartoon, he never transformed into that core robot, I think it makes this one, I guess, a more faithful reproduction of what we saw in the 86, the Transformers, the movie. And I do really like this guy, and I think he's really big enough to warrant that Commander Class moniker. Even though I will say the engineering on this one doesn't rival, say, the Kingdom Commander Class Rodimus Prime. But what this one has, it does have some of the more complicated engineering, but not very much. This guy's Commander Class status is mostly due to his size, similar to the Legacy Motor Master. Really just the bulk that was with that figure is what earned it that Commander Class. And I'm guessing that's really how they measure it now, is the amount of plastic really that goes into it. Or in the case of Rodimus Prime, although he wasn't lacking in plastic, his engineering was much more complicated than a lot of the Transformers that we do get in mainline, at least. Now there have been a few Masterpiece that aggravated me so much in P36 Megatron that I will never transform that thing again. He is in robot mode, and that's how he's staying. But this guy, again, he's not overly complicated. I didn't hate transforming him. I won't say that I loved it, but it's not bad. It is a satisfying transformation. And again, the stylings of this Ultra Magnus does fit in with that 86 Studio Series aesthetic that they're going for. And it does fit in with the other main lines. In my opinion, it can work in Earthrise, it can work in Kingdom, Siege, Legacy, Legacy Evolution, and Legacy United, I think it is the next Legacy. So I will say overall I am pleased with this, and I don't think it was a bad spend for what you get. There aren't a lot of paint apps, so don't be expecting a lot of deco on this guy. And the light piping on this figure is very, very obvious, as you can see as it's going around now. And one thing that kind of ticked me off is, in my opinion, the accessory count was wrong, because it said it comes with 15 accessories, and that's not counting the Matrix, because the Matrix was not in the little brown paper sack that all the other accessories was. It comes in his chest where it belongs, I guess you could say. But what they did count instead were the 2 antennae that go on the sides of his head instead, which were in the little brown sack rather than already applied to the figure. And I can understand why they didn't apply them on there, but to count that as an accessory, in my opinion, is a little insulting. So Hasbro, since you're never going to watch this, you know, I find the way that you count accessories a little insulting. But that's my opinion. Your mileage, of course, may vary. You may be very happy with that accessory count because they didn't count the Matrix, and whoa, I got an extra accessory they didn't count. But no, you really didn't, because they counted those 2 antennae, which I don't really think qualify as an accessory. But again, that's just me on my soapbox. I have to say, overall, I do like this guy. I think this is probably as close to a mainline masterpiece as we'll get. And, you know, the Commander Class period, except for Motormaster, we're not going to count that. The Jetfire was very close, in my opinion, to a masterpiece. The Skylinks was also, the engineering on, and the sculpt really, on the Kingdom Rodimus Prime. And then this one again, Legacy Motormaster, I'm not really going to count in that. The Motormaster itself is okay. It's just the trailer is funky. And anyway, I already reviewed that. So if you want to go back and look at it, you can. There is a Minosaur playlist in my playlists. If you want to look that up, and it has all the Stunticons plus Minosaur in it. If you would like to see how I really feel about that. Well, that does it for this review. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews or just help the channel out further, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.